Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we're here to do feedback, everybody. This is the episode you've all been waiting for, some of you anyway, where you write in, you want your opinions heard, you want to know what we think about the opinions that you gave, and that's what we do here. We go back to and we go, hey, that thing you said, we saw it.
We saw it.
This is what we think about that thing you said. I know other shows don't do this because other shows don't give a fuck about you. Okay.
They don't care nothing about your opinion.
So keep that in mind when you write in. Make sure what you write is nice. Because I mean, let's be honest, okay?
Everybody like to be talked to.
Everybody wants to be talked to with respect and be nice. And I think that's what works the best.
Just reciprocal.
Yeah. So thank you for everybody that does that. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair.
An unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball to the extreme. With no further delay, let's get into the people that took the time out to give us money. Must be the money. That's why we're here, guys. All right, let's do it.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Flawless Zone with Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tie to the Black Wire Tips.
That's right. New commentary, new monetary. We got a donation from Christoph R. Thank you very much, Christoph. Tanisha G. Dotstrid J. Preston, aka Slanger Ages Podcast. Celeste VB. Thank you very much. I don't know how I put this email from Chopped in there, but I can earn $5 off if I order a couple more salads. Adam S. Mariano. Let's see. We got a one-time donation from Virginia G. Thank you very much. Jason F. Dorothea S. You know, we popular with Dorotheas. I would venture to say our podcast is probably the most popular in the world with Dorotheas.
Come on, number one.
Tyrone M. Joe H. Michael Irvin, the Playmaker. Waist Bees by Sura. Allison H. Stefan H. Mary H. This is the week of the month where all the H's come.
Come on through H's.
Michael F. The H family is deep. Okay. Deborah O. We got a one-time donation from, I think it's pronounced, it's Shokne. So I don't know if it's Shokni or Shoni, if the K sound, I'm not sure. But it's Shoni F says, happy belated birthday. You and Karen sent me birthday wishes July 31st. So you know I had to return the favor. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Man, listen. Okay, made my day. Jonathan H. and lastly, Noel W. That's everybody. Appreciate you. Play me out, choir. All right. 5-star reviews. We got one new one. And it is from Sean D, who says, wish I could give them 6. Love you guys. No notes. Thank you.
Aw, shit now. No notes.
That's all it takes sometimes.
I like no notes.
That is all it takes. So thank you very much for that 5-star review. And we're going to get into these comments on the episodes. I think we had 5 episodes this week.
Oh, shit now.
One of those 5 episode weeks, which don't get used to. We're about to start going to these Hornets games. So
yeah, I've seen the schedule. I say, yeah, gonna be a bunch of days.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird around here.
Mm-hmm.
You
gonna get the shows.
Someone left a comment on the pregame. They left it, which is so ironic. They left this comment while we were recording the show live. So I don't know why they left this comment, but the comment was like, what is the schedule of this show? When are y'all gonna record it? I don't know. This is my favorite show. And I'm like, one, why aren't you in the live chat right now? I send the email out to everyone who's premium every week we do the show.
Right.
You would get an email the day of, like, yo, we're doing the show. Come in.
You get email.
But 2, it's hard to do that show. We do 5 up to 5 regular shows. Then we do all our spinoff shows, the movie reviews, the pregame, Balls Deep. Balls Deep and pregame involve Justin. Justin has a completely different schedule. He's not a full-time podcaster like us. So it's like, if he has a schedule that allows, we can make that work. But sometimes it doesn't. He's doing a bunch of stuff
Life be life.
career wise that I can't always get to. Then he had his car breakdown. All I'm saying is, hey, I'm glad it's your favorite. And I'm glad that you're getting something behind the paywall. And I will never complain about somebody who's actually paying for the services. But I need you to bear with us. I need you to understand we're human. And like sometimes we get to the show when we can. I don't think we've ever taken more than 2 weeks off from that show ever.
Not since we've been recording.
Meaning that most weeks you get a show. But yeah, it's gonna be some times, especially as things get busier for Justin and us. It's gonna be some times where we just don't have a availability to do it that week, and I'm gonna need y'all to just bear with it and understand. And if you need to cancel your membership, I understand that too.
I get that too.
But we working hard as fuck. So that's the answer. When we can do it is when you'll get it, and we typically be able to do it about once a week. So
once a week.
All right. 2984 Two Name Assassins feedback episode. We got 8 comments. The first comment is from Lil P. Appia slipping. You hate to see it.
Oh shit! Now somebody come for your number one spot, Appia.
Regarding birth certificates, the reason the bio mom's name is taken off is because our names are put on. I think there should be a section for bio parents, but that is a longer, more complex thing that involves the law. Also, the way my son jumps on me and laughs when I say ouch and will mock me, you might be onto something, right? Yeah, them 3 names, dog, made him a little serial killer. But look, hey, maybe you lucked up and you didn't get one of the bad ones. We'll find out. Appia says,
only time who tell.
I in fact do sell drugs for a living, but in my case, I get paid by direct deposit because it's fancy drug selling, the legal kind.
Not the fancy drugs.
As I like to call it in America, the white kind. When I got cash in the past, it was for waitress work. It's common in Germany, or at least it was when I had that job. Rona Raphael says, now, before I left the shores on the continent, I had experienced power loss for weeks and even months, and none of that was due to any natural disasters. It was all man-made. They going through one right now. Family says the person in charge is supposedly flying into parts for repairs from who knows where, maybe Westeros. So no electricity for over a month. Good thing no hurricanes or typhoons in that part of Africa. But that's not why I'm here. You see, brother, you're not yourself when you're without some pumpkin spice in your life. What's next? You not gonna wear Uggs? I am thinking about giving my Uggs away to Goodwill. I haven't worn them in a long time.
Oh shit! Now what is happening?
Nothing. I think it's only porn chasing people. America runs on middle names. Can you dig it? Now pour you a cup of hot pumpkin spice. Treat you. Respect the middles. We got dragons too. All right. Little P says, also thank you for the kind words and I appreciate it. Regarding Diddy and Usher being victims in their childhood, look, I was recently diagnosed with PTSD due to things I experienced in my childhood. I knew it was wrong the entire time, and I know how it made me feel. I have not done any of that to my children because I know how bad it made me feel. It can't be used as an excuse to continue the cycle. I've been through therapy, and I am continuing therapy to address these issues to make sure I'm the best person I can be and not take it out on my kids because they are innocent. I was innocent when it happened to me. Yeah, I think what happens, there's 2 discussions that are happening simultaneously when we talk about the cycles of abuse and people who have been victims who then become predators and abusers and stuff, right? There's 2 conversations. The first conversation is one that is based around and I don't even want to call it social media. I really think it's just the societal bend towards empathy whenever we bring up someone being abused. I'm not saying you shouldn't be empathetic. I'm just saying sometimes people will, for lack of a better term, abuse people's empathy and be like, yeah, R. Kelly did that, but think about what happened to him. And it's like people have to hold 2 thoughts at once, which is I am empathetic for the little boy that was R. Kelly that got, molested or whatever by the older women or something like. I completely, that had, to me, that is separate from then the harm that he went on to do. Now, if you're in a court of law or something, maybe it's not as separate. Maybe it's a mitigating factor to sentencing or something. but in just a court of public opinion, it is not something that would make me excuse what they've done. And I would imagine the other part of this conversation is that someone like, like what Apia brought that up. Now she did say it in very authoritative terms, as if she knows that something happened to him and this is what happened. I think she's looking for more like reasoning, not excuses, and not empathy and sympathy for the guy, but more like maybe this is why he did what he did.
These things led to this.
Yeah. The only thing I would say for that is there's so many people who have been abused. There are so many people. And what he did was so deviant and prolific with it. I hesitate to chalk it up to just that. Like, some of the people who I'm sure he did abuse were also abused as children. Like, some of this stuff is just I feel you. It's just complicated in that, I'm sure with a psychiatrist or some analyst or something in a courtroom might be able to make that through line, but we're all just projecting onto the situation as people that didn't know what the fuck was happening. Also, this is probably a hot take. Not everyone who does evil, horrendous things has a diagnosable mental illness. Sometimes people are just evil assholes. I work with people with schizophrenia and the throes of psychosis, and they know right from wrong, which is heartbreaking in a way because a lot of times they were fighting so hard against the voices. Bottom line, yes, mental health is an issue in the U.S. The U.S. needs to address much better than they do, but we can't give people who do horrendous things the benefit of the doubt, citing mental illness and childhood abuse. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think the default of saying like I said, it's two conversations happening at once. One of them is about the empathy we give people who are dealing with mental health issues. And what I think happens is that, especially when rich, powerful people like Diddy do something, everyone wants to hold the line and be like, no, this is why we don't need empathy for mental health situations in this case. I'm not really a big advocate of that. Maybe because my general bend is always towards empathy and it's something I have to work backwards and turn off. I'm not really a big fan of some people's mental health is also, very unstable and they don't do this kind of thing. Yeah, because different people have different diagnoses, all that stuff. I just don't want to get into this with Diddy because I don't think we have any reason. There's no evidence. There's no, like we know Kanye West is bipolar. So like it was a lot easier for me. And this is just me personally. I know other people like to be very upset with him and stuff, but it's very easy for me to see what happened with him. Okay, he goes off his meds to do his albums. And then suddenly he just has these psychotic breaks and he is saying shit like slavery was a choice. There's a lot of people who are like, man, fuck that motherfucker, man. He really thinks that. And I'm like, I truly believe if he was taking care of his mental health, he would not think that.
Agreed.
Because I know what he was like when he was on. I know what his art was like, not him, but we saw too much of his life documented when he was actually, his mom was around and he was taking care of his mental health. He was on his meds, all that shit. We saw it. And then we saw what happened when he would crash out to do albums. He'd do the promo run and we'd be like, what is this guy doing? This, like, some of this behavior is just so weird. And then once he went full, like, what did he say? I hate being bipolar. It's fucking awesome. And I'm not, it was just like a bunch of stuff that was like signaling like, I'm not on my meds and I'm not going back on. And it's just like, okay, that's a manic person. And we have a history there is my point. I don't know where the history comes with Diddy.
Right.
So I just feels like people are looking for a reason or looking for something. And, it's one of the hardest things about doing our podcast is picking when we project and when we, and letting people know definitely when we're talking like, hey, I don't know this. This is just us speculating. And so I think maybe that's where this thing went on a tangent, is that Apia wrote in like speculating that it's some form of abuse and she can tell and all this shit. Look, she could turn out to be absolutely right.
Agreed.
She could turn out to be absolutely wrong. I don't know. And we may never know. But I think that is so separate from what he did that I can't even, the stuff he did is beyond, or that he's accused of doing. Sean says, if someone with the middle name Kill, K-I-L, I will I will continue to sit out the discussion of nominative determination of middle names in relation to serial killers and assassins.
You took your name at the pot. You was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and take my name at the pot.
Sling shoulder over shoulder and leaves comment section. Mature young lady, our girl Erica, says this Diddy debacle is honestly very disheartening. He was such a significant piece of the culture. Sad to see this is what his legacy will consist of. The comparison of Diddy and other white alleged abusers is nonsense. It's all wrong. Janet Jackson pissed me off. She could have said nothing.
I 100% agree.
EV says, I'm late to the convo on this subject, but I didn't know not having a middle name was a thing. The only person in my life I ever met without a middle name was my dad. I have a middle name, as does my kid. If we ever assassinate anyone, I'll let you know, or you'll probably hear about it on the news. Yep.
We'll be reading an article about you, baby.
Jamil says, I was listening to a podcast years ago. It was either Away with Words or the Grammar Girl podcast. On the particular episode, they discussed middle names, and they explained why serial killers and high-profile killers always have middle names. According to them, media outlets read the middle names of these people to avoid a mistaken identity scenario. So John Gacy becomes John Wayne Gacy. So other John Gacys are not confused as the dude with the bodies in his basement. Love the show as always. Peace. Man, if only those people would have lived that came up with that invention, which is a pretty smart idea, that convention of naming the middle name. But if only they would have known the internet was going to come around and dummies would just be out here confusing people's names.
Don't even matter. You can have
harassing the wrong people.
Don't even matter if you have all three. They don't care.
Yeah, they just like you don't even need the same spelling, the same pronunciation. Like there's a motherfucker on Twitter. I forget who. I want to say his name is like, maybe it's close to either like JD Vance or like some politician that everyone hates. And he's like, every fucking time some shit happened, he got to put out a tweet like, "Oh, here we go again," because people harass him on Twitter and it's not him. Yeah. All right, let's check YouTube for comments on Two Name Assassins episode. We got 2 comments. Gina Dow says, not the General Lee cake. Not gonna lie, I used to love that show. I wanted it to be Daisy so bad, but let's see. I also wanted to be Blair on Facts of Life, not Tootie. So I guess I can't run for office either. Yeah, definitely coon related behavior. JV City just put a heart emoji. Thank you. All right, and the poll: have you ever lost power for more than 24 hours because of a natural disaster?
I have.
58%, 59% basically said yes, 41% have not.
Yeah, I think for Hugo, it was out for a week or two. It was out
for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, it be happening, y'all. But all right, let's get into another interlude with this music, and we'll come back and do some more feedback.
Psycho
music.
That was jamming, kind of funky. All right, let's get into the next episode, 2985, Into the Comedy Multiverse, where we got joined by Brandon Collins of Medium Popcorn and Drunk Black History. We had 2 comments. Appia says, I can see us being in a new kind of universe now. Shit is very ridiculous, and so much is happening that even 2 attempts to kill Donald Trump seem like old news now. Right. How nice that we are in it together in this universe. It's nice. A lot of us must have made it over. It's better than the old.
Apparently it is.
Evie says, it's always great when Brandon is on the show. He and Justin Brown are the only podcast with 2 men that I still listen to. They're so funny. Well, I'm sure they're going to let you down one day. Okay,
they are hilarious.
They are just the shits and giggles of movies, is what I always say. No, I'm just kidding. Being mayor of New York seems like be a thankless job, and no one ever seems to be happy no matter who is in office, but Eric Adams seems particularly heinous on levels of Kwame Kilpatrick. I hope they unlock his phone, because I wouldn't be surprised that man is responsible for some bodies. And even though we shouldn't speculate on who was involved in Diddy's mess, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest that he participated in the freak offs. What a hard man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all guys. Maybe it's just the way I'm built. It should be surprising if anyone's involved in the freak offs. Like, we know that we know for a fact other people are involved, I'm gonna reserve the right to be surprised at every fucking name that comes out. Now we don't know a lot of the. There's people claiming there's some A-list names and all this shit. We'll see if any of that is true.
We will see.
But I mean, even when it's at this point, it's shocking when it's an employee of Diddy. To be honest, because I'm like, I think I quit.
Ain't that the truth?
I think I quit. I really do.
I think they just won't. I just will not show up one day and never come back. I don't care about no W-2s. I'm good, dog.
I know it's easy to say you never been in that situation, blah blah blah. And I mean, I guess I'll never know, and hopefully I'll never find out for sure. But goddamn, I think I quit. This motherfucker said, "Hey, I'm gonna need y'all to get a bunch of date rape drugs. And some cameras." I'm like, bro, I'm out.
What is we doing?
I thought I was gonna be walking to get cheesecake or something at the worst.
At the worst.
I thought the worst thing I was gonna have to do
is have my thighs burning.
Yeah, you was gonna close the studio down. I didn't think you was gonna be in here fucking making me complicit to fucking sex trafficking. Right. Come on, man. All right, those are the comments on the website. Let's check the YouTube. We got 2 comments here. Alexandria says RFK Jr. is pulling women with that voice. He ain't even that fine like the rest of them Kennedys. I don't get it. Kizzy just says Raj, RFK, and a bunch of laughing emojis. Thank you. It comes and goes. I'm not an impressionist, and I don't ever plan to do these. I always do them on the fly. And so sometimes I catch it and I'm like, oh, that was a good one. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm just sound like Terrence Howard, but it's fine. Y'all know what I mean. It's funny. I still don't know how that man could pull you.
It's funny.
Sounds like he smoked a pack of cigarettes and sound like Terrence Howard. Will Eric Adams go to jail?
I think he will. He gonna serve somebody's time.
75% of people say yes. 25% say no. I'm in the 75%. Yes, he going to jail. There's no way.
Because they talking about you conspiring with another country and taking their money. Get out of here, sir.
Yeah, like them YSL boys might not go to jail, but Eric Adams' ass going
to the whole jailhouse.
I can't see no other way.
You can't be having texts of people talking about, hey, give us a discount on the low, make it sound real. Nigga, you going to jail.
Right. Like the other side of the text still exists. Them people phones is out there. Anyway, episode 2986. We got 10 comments on this episode. It's called Chicken or Fish. We talked about the election, talked about Diddy, Chris Brown documentary, Chaperone, and Amanda Seales. It was one of those like just we talked and I didn't do a lot of segments and then we just kind of ended it. I did that a few times this week. I was just trying to get the vibe, see how it feels. I wasn't high or anything, but I know y'all say y'all like the relaxed vibe of when I am high, and that's kind of what the show sounds like sometimes when I'm high. So I said, what if I just went, we just talked.
I enjoy those shows. I ain't gonna lie.
Appia left 2 comments. One is a reply to our own comment. Dear Chaperone, I'm a busy business lady / mother. Finding new music I like is hard, and when I find something from this millennium I like, I'm happy. I like your music. Is it made for white women? I don't know, but I'm a white woman, so it's very possible. Works on me. Now you behave this way, I can't listen to it without thinking about the both sides shit. This is what gave us Trump. Oh, and one side isn't fully perfect. The other is fully evil. It's not a both sides at all. Listen to Michelle Obama. She told you. And the only way how trans people can be involved in the political process is to get them elected. The other side doesn't want them to even exist, as Rod said. Yeah. Right. And which trans lawmakers who are actually elected officials, what party are they in?
All right.
So for your the transphobia of the left, I can't get with that. And also, the stuff on the right, it's like, no, it's not an also. Be specific.
There's nobody trans that has a public position in office that's a Republican.
Yeah.
Best to my knowledge, there is not.
And the thing that really the thing I realized years ago about these type of folks is that, and I think this happens for a lot of people, like, this is going to sound very judgmental, but it is very judgmental, but honestly, it is very common what I'm about to say. A lot of people say the both sides thing because they are not informed and they don't want to be informed.
Yeah.
And so if you could be like, it's all bullshit, right? Then that you think that makes you feel smart and informed, because if you can find anything to nitpick on either side, you can be like, see, kind of the same. as opposed to like, having some sort of like rigorous approach to it, where I think you'd end up in some ways having to reveal either you're agnostic to a lot of the politics and causes in our society, which is fine, but that's what you need to admit if you're like both sides don't really matter.
Right.
Or you have to come out and be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I just want to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I think that's the latter. I think a lot of these people are just out of touch. And then with Chappelle Roan, I didn't know this. Chappell Roan, I didn't know, but apparently like her uncle is a Republican, like elected official or something.
I didn't know
so maybe there's some family ties type shit where she don't want to say it.
Right.
Rod, you nailed it with the hyper online folks thinking their vote is like a Valentine. There's no perfect candidate. Stop acting like that to vie for your vote and your vote alone. Chappell Roan and the way she said she'll vote for Kamala was an obvious dog whistle. I picked up that vitriol loud and clear. Yeah, and I don't know that she meant to mispronounce Kamala's name. I truly don't. But I do know that when you're saying it with a condescending attitude
She was
and
angry.
cursing, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt.
I am not either. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like at that point, I have to be like, well, then maybe you meant that shit.
Right. It's like, damn, are you happy now? But then
Right.
how am I supposed to feel with that attitude?
like I will vote for Kamala. It's like, that definitely sits wrong with me.
Right.
Rona Raphael says that Chappell Roan got to be epic white woman interneting. A duet with Obi Trice might be incoming. Song titled Critical Thoughts. But that's not why I'm here. I just want y'all to know that every time you say JFK instead of RFK, it was me all along pulling the strings using real voodoo to bend your tongues until you recognize that middle names is for most loving and nurturing folks. I'll stop. Ivy says it worked. I wasn't sure what the name of this dead animal enthusiast was, so I looked it up in the post above. You won. Rona Raphael replied, I gotta recheck my spell now because Appia got me confused. We supposed to get Rod, not the caster of the spell. I can't speak German here because Rod pronunciation might break the spell. Let's unite against Rod. Ivy says, I'm sure he will enjoy that. He was pretty feisty recently. Now I'm afraid I said too much already. Appia think fast about something to smooth it over. Checks are good sometimes, and Fahrenheit also. Thank you. Erica says, I don't need to hear the political views of celebs. I don't think we need to be pressured to make a stance either way. I still have a bad taste in my mouth about Janet Jackson's statements on VP. Yeah, I've said this shit many times on the show, and it is the most honest, basic thing I can say about celebrities and their politics. I would like celebrities to shut the fuck up unless they agree with me all the time.
And most people need to admit that that's how they feel too.
Yeah,
they won't admit that, and that's the problem.
And that's a very unrealistic, greedy expectation of any human being on earth.
Right.
If you listen to this podcast and you expect us to align with your views all the time, then you're going to find yourself disappointed at some point just because we're human, you're human, we've had different experiences. If we had to have a blanket rule where all the fucking celebrities just kept their shit to themselves, I'd be okay with that. But this currency online now of like, you need to speak up on something or else you're part of the problem, which I think is totally about creating content and conflict and passing the time with entertainment.
Yes.
I don't think it's really about the cause. I don't like, there's never been a cause where I was like, yo, I didn't think this cause was going to go anywhere, but finally Beyonce said something. I've never, like, at no point has that happened for me. It's like a cool moment if someone is on your side and they speak up about something, but at the end of the day, they're just a person, even with their big ass platform. They may or may not be informed. I've seen people discredit that shit immediately, like, oh, her PR people told her to say. It's like there's never enough for anyone,
right?
And it's because of at the core of it, a lot of stuff is rooted in jealousy of these celebrities and the fact that we don't like that they got money and fame and stuff that we want.
Agreed.
And we're just keep moving. We're gonna keep moving the bar till we find a reason to fucking just hate the person. And I'm so against that.
Yeah, I can't vibe with that at all. No,
yeah, I can't. I'm so against that. It's against my nature. I don't like friend groups off of that. When I see my friends participate in it online, I pretend like I'm not seeing it. That's how bad it is. Cause I'll be like, cause what I think in my mind is, fuck, they got you. Like you sitting on, like, I don't know what's going on in your life that's got you so whatever, but you're sitting online ragging on Chris Pratt, and you don't really even have any evidence that he's this piece of shit, but you need him to be that piece of shit because that's gonna help siphon off some of whatever the misery in your life is. That's at least that's how I read it most of the time. And the reason I say that is because there are so many people who actually do volunteer that I'm a piece of shit. Like, we have so many people that have just jumped out there on a limb and been like, hey guys, I'm a big piece of shit. I'm Kevin Sorbo. Hey, it's me, Gina Carano. I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I get why you would go in on that. But like, I still remember for years listening to podcasts and stuff where they would shit on Taylor Swift. And I would go look it up and be like, what did she do? And then it'd be like, she didn't do anything. I'm like, am I tripping? Or y'all just kind of hate her because she's like tall, rich, white, blonde, and her, to you, her music is not good. So she now has to be like MAGA or something so you can justify like hating her, as opposed to just being like a normal human and being like, oh, I'm just not really a fan, which is a totally normal thing to be. You don't need to build a case to not be a fan of someone.
Right. And that's very valid. As somebody who has personally went through that process, I'm on the other side of that. And a lot of people would never get to where I am and just admit that I was a part of the problem. I participated in some bullshit and this person never did anything. I actually don't know this person. Why am I angry about somebody who actually directly does not have an impact on my everyday life? They don't even know I exist, but I have a hatred and anger, and I'm quote unquote holding this person accountable, person that does not know that I am a person in the universe. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, I just don't need to build a case against somebody if I don't fuck with whatever they do. You know, like, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm not a fan of that person's music or whatever. And then, like I said, eventually somebody will do something.
Yes, they will.
They'll do something.
Right. This valid.
None of these motherfuckers are perfect. I think the real telltale sign is when people excuse shit. Cause like they're like, whatever you cancel the other person over, you need to keep that same energy all the time to me. If not, then I'm just like, you part of the problem. I hate that shit. And I try to keep that shit in mind. When it's like, oh man, I can't fuck with Cardi B. She robbed some men and drugged them. I'll be like, that was fucked up. But at the same time, I've listened to niggas that rap about robbing people my whole fucking life. So if I was gonna stop listening to rap because the person turned out to be a criminal, my catalog would have like 3 motherfuckers in it. So it is what it is. She also says, me and Rod had a dialogue regarding Amanda/Issa situation. After the way he broke it down in today's episode, I can admit that I was wrong. Q's Rod was right. I'm not even gonna play it on you, Erica. Okay, I like you, Erica. We saw you in Publix that day. I'm not even gonna touchdown dance on you. I like both ladies, but Amanda, while creative, is also challenging. I think also she's just really good at speaking the language of the internet, and it's definitely a talent, it's definitely a skill, and it makes it really hard to like go in on her because she knows how to just talk that shit in the right way that makes something that I think most people would find reprehensible, it turns it into like, no, but she was doing it for this reason. It's like those people. It's like when Jonah Hill wrote that whole thing with about his ex-girlfriend, and when they were dating, and she revealed the text messages on social media. I know a lot of people, especially men, who were fooled by that language and was like, yeah, this bitch, what's wrong with her? And it's like, oh, he used therapy speak on y'all. So he said something like controlling what she wears, who she's friends with, and when she can go out was him drawing a boundary. And so you, person that is either biased towards like, sometimes men need to do this, or you're one of those people that gets taken in by therapy speak, you went, he's not controlling, he's setting a boundary. That's all. What, we can't have boundaries? That's what a relationship is. It's boundaries. And those of us that are a little familiar with that language is like, he's not using that language right.
No, he's not.
That's not how you set off a boundary.
Nope.
But it works on people, and I think she's good at that. Evie says, I didn't vote in the poll because my answer to chicken or fish is simply yes. Chaperone has some pretty catchy songs, but she's one of those people who claims to not give a fuck while habitually being online. Right. She made several posts saying she doesn't owe anyone a hug, a photograph, or autograph, but she's out in public, which is her right. She has cussed out reporters during interviews and wants to protect her peace, which is also fine, but for someone who doesn't give a fuck, she is always arguing with someone on the internet. She crashes out online as much as Nikki, and that's too bad because she can't be good. That can't be good for her mental health when she claims she wants to protect her peace. Yeah, I'm like that too. Like I was like that a lot, where I would be like, I don't give a fuck, and I'm just on Twitter waiting for the next reply so I can get mad at somebody. And I had to let all that go because it was like, nah, I do give a fuck. I give
Right.
too much of a fuck. That's the real problem.
Yes. Yeah, you have to admit when you say you don't give a fuck what you really do, and when you say you don't give a fuck and you really don't give a fuck. Those things are separately. A lot of times the first one you ain't lying to nobody but yourself, baby.
Yeah. When I don't give a fuck, I just either don't reply or I'm just laughing so much at the whole situation that I would be like, okay, this is when I actually don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like if you say something crazy to me and you don't ever get a reply from me or you get a joke back from me, I probably did not give a fuck. But if I, and also I had to destigmatize this idea in my head. There's nothing wrong with giving a fuck.
No, there's some shit you do need to care about.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes y'all say shit or someone says something. I mean, that's what this feedback show is. I give a fuck about what y'all think. We give a fuck what our listeners get from this show.
Mhm.
This is important to us.
right.
So while there could be some lines where someone says something and I really wouldn't give a fuck, I'm sure there's been times we've gotten certain feedback and I had to be like, in order for me to have a healthy mind, I have to not give a fuck that you just said some completely wild shit to me.
Right.
But in general, I do give a fuck. I'm a give a fuck type of person. I show up for my friends. I handle my obligations. I'm dependable. I'm reliable. I want the people I care about to know I love them. I'm a give a fuck person. Nothing wrong with that.
No, ain't nothing wrong with that. Particularly the internet makes people think it's not cool to actually give a fuck about people, but you should. A lot of times, if we gave more of a fuck about people in certain situations, they would be different. But yeah, I'm similar to you. I do care about shit. As you get older, you pick and choose what you care about. As you get older, you care about less things, but the things that you do care about, you care. I know for me personally, I care about them very deeply. But yeah, it's a bunch of shit that happens, and when I say I don't give a fuck, I don't care. I don't keep track of it. I don't care what's happening. You every time you ask me, I'm like, who? Because I don't even keep it in my memory bank because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it just really depends. I think also people like saying, I mean, I do it too. When I get angry sometimes, I'll say that, it's like reflexive. Like I don't give a fuck, or it's almost like saying suck my dick in an argument. Like obviously I don't really want you to suck my dick. I mean, come on, that's a nice thing that people do for each other. It's not a
don't have a good time.
Yeah, it's not the act I really I don't. Yeah, like if I don't think I've ever been in a fight where I was like suck my dick, if somebody was like okay, I'd be like whoa, you read the room wrong, So yeah, I think that's kind of how I don't give a fuck is. But she's 26. It's old enough to know better, but also I can see 26. You can be online. I could just see how she crashed out.
Particularly if this is something that she grew up with. Yes.
But yeah, back to this comment, dude. One thing I can get behind is how her stage performance is derived from drag culture. Can't get behind is how her stage performance is derived from drag culture. So her saying both parties are the same doesn't sit right with me. When we only know one party's trying to criminalize drag queens, maybe someone will educate her eventually. See, that's what really I think hurt her feelings. And this happens. This is such a tangent, but I was listening to a great episode of a podcast. Sarah Spain has a podcast. She's a sports analyst, journalist, and has been in the game for a long time. I remember seeing her on ESPN. Her podcast is called Good Game with Sarah Spain. And she had on the 3rd, she had an interview with Christine Brennan. We talked about this in depth on the pregame from last night and Boston Sports a little bit. And so I won't get too deep into my thoughts. But the thing I noticed about Christine Brennan, who started a firestorm with WNBA, Twitter, and players from her framing of this of the Caitlin Clark story. She's a white journalist. She's doing an unauthorized book on Caitlin Clark, meaning Caitlin Clark is not participating in this book or doing interviews for this book. Yeah, this is completely the framing of Christine Brennan, and people don't really trust that she's gonna do a positive job for the league and for the other players because she's asking loaded questions. She was an advocate of Caitlin Clark needing to be on the women's Olympic team, even though Caitlin hadn't even earned that spot. She hadn't even been able to practice with that team. She hadn't gone through the process that every other player who was on that roster had gone through. And just quite frankly, she's not at that moment. I don't think she was one of the best WNBA players for the league. Not that she couldn't have made it over to Rossi or something, but I'm saying if you were going to do that, there were actually people ahead of Caitlin that should have made it before Caitlin. So it wasn't a merit-based argument. And so a lot of people have been looking at Christine sideways. She asked Dejanay Carrington if she meant to flagrantly foul Caitlin Clark, and was she laughing about it 3 quarters later? This is just this framing.
Mm-hmm.
I bring it back to the Chappell Roan point that you're making this way. In that interview, which is about an hour long, Kristen Brennan is so defensive of herself that she can't accept that she may be causing harm in the broader discussion of the league and the framing of these mean, angry black queer ladies are beating up this poor straight white girl. She refuses to accept she may be complicit in spreading that narrative, but by saying like, I'm blind to this narrative. I'm just asking questions as a journalist. Okay, it has nothing to do with the broader issues. And the reason she keeps doing that is because she does this sleight of hand to like, well, I wrote about Colin Kaepernick. I wrote about Serena Williams and Venus Williams. So like, how can I be racist? How can I be a bad person? Everyone should know my heart, that I intend good things all the time. So the way y'all are taking it must be the real problem. It can't be me. Y'all the ones that are the issue. And I think that is kind of what the Chappell Roan thing is, which is what she really is crashing out is, how can I be a bad person? Y'all know I'm a feminist. Y'all know I love LGBTQ people. Y'all know I got my show from Drag Culture.
Everybody don't know
so
you,
how
baby.
can I be the problem? All I'm saying is both parties aren't perfect. She can't see past herself to be like, oh, because the people I claim I'm protecting and standing up for are telling me shut the fuck up and vote Democrat and please vote for Kamala Harris. Please. And I think that cognitive dissonance, that whatever that is, the mental gymnastics of that, it broke her. And so she's crashing out on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever. She's crashing out rather than to confront that conundrum of like, how can I say I'm so pro you that I won't vote and do the thing you want me to do? Right? It's simple. I guess I could have said it faster like this.
To turn around and say, I'm racist. What's it got to do with me? I'm okay. How can I be racist about anybody? How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life?
Yeah. Shout out to Shay in the chat too. Y'all should listen to the episode with Sarah Spain that I just told y'all about. Sarah Spain did such a great job of journalism, holding that woman accountable, holding her feet to the fire, bringing up facts. And she did it without name calling, with no animosity, just pure, like, let's stick to what is happening. And I'm Christine Brennan either made a couple mistakes. She said she only wrote 6 articles about Caitlin Clark. She wrote 16. She also refused to acknowledge how much tweeting she did in that whole discourse. So a lot of the stuff she did, she's like, Twitter's a cesspool, but she's on Twitter saying a lot of shit that is keeping it going. So yeah, it was, anyway, great interview. Back to the comment. As for the show she canceled, it still went on with drag queens performing her songs, and from the video it appeared like the crowd was having a blast. Yeah. That's sad, man. She should have shown up. They probably would have been cool with her. I'm gonna be honest.
Chad, yes, I paid for a ticket. I'm here for you.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been. She'll be okay eventually anyway, but I'm just saying, like, nothing says hyper online like not showing up to that concert because you've been fighting on Instagram. I'm sorry.
Chad, I'm showing up. I don't give a fuck about what's happening on my Instagram.
Yeah, the people that paid for tickets ain't got nothing to do with that.
Well, am I being punished for them?
Angela says, hey, Rod and Karen, my 15-year-old daughter was trying to explain that chaperone meant to say something different. I responded that people can't/won't research chaperone to know her true heart. She won't throw out inaccurate both sides. She can't throw out inaccurate both sides-isms, say Madam VP's name with such disrespect and disdain and think no one would call her out.
Right.
I did acknowledge mispronunciation could have been a slip up, and maybe, but it also felt like she didn't know or care enough to pronounce Kamala's name correct.
Agreed.
But then we then went on to discuss how in the post-integration world, Black and minoritized kids get caught up in this playful banter with white friends and classmates, which can also be micro and macro aggressive. They have a feeling that something isn't right, but can't put their finger on it. The fact that Chaperone said fucking Kamala bothered me. She might not have meant disrespect. She was angry, and I know I cuss when I'm mad. But how she said that instantly set my teeth on edge. My Negro sense was tingling. My daughter and I had a good conversation. It's not easy in these parenting streets, and teaching kids to watch out for the throw the rock and hide your hand game that people like to play. You don't want them walking around paranoid, but at the same time, you don't want them hurt, gaslit, and run over by people who want to see how much they can get away with. And if the other person means no harm, people can't talk to you in any old kind of way. Thanks for the great show. Hugs, kisses, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is if you really know what your friendship is made of, your relationship, is if you can bring it up. That is really when you know what you need to know. Because everyone fucks up. All friendships have a moment. All relationships have a moment. Multiple moments. Honestly, everybody has a moment, but it's not until you have to deal with conflict resolution that you really know if you have a friendship and where you stand. You know the amount. It's sad because I know so many people who are grown ass people. They don't have conflict resolution skills. And sadly, when their friendships reach any level of conflict, it's like over.
Yep.
Like I'm too grown for that.
It ends, right. And also, when I was younger, I didn't have those skills, and there are friendships that I have to live with the consequences of me not handling them correctly. But now I know, so now I view them differently and I execute them very differently now. And particularly if you're somebody that I care about, I'm going to come to you honestly and earnestly, and I'm going to be truthful with you. You tell me what you think, and then decisions will be made from there. Versus you just nipping it in the bud and cutting it and snipping it off because we've had a friction. Friction is a part of any form of relationships. You do it with your family and friends all the time. For most people, they don't just toss them away. There are instances where you do where it's abusive and shit like that, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just about the normal friction that you have.
We got comments on our YouTube. JV City says, perfect analogy used. I'll take the fish, brought my own hot sauce. This episode needs to be sent to every American that is registered to vote. Y'all may already know this, but just by chance you don't, y'all have done the reading and are educating people. Thank you both. Thank you, Rod, for holding the line. Thank you, Karen, for holding the line. Thank you, JV City.
Oh, thank you. I like mustard with my fish.
Lysandra Chanel says the Amanda Seales Issa Rae issue wasn't that Issa was a bad person. It was that she was too passive about it, and that gets people hurt. Just like your issue with Chapel Girl, you went on a rant about her wanting to be passive about voting. It gets people hurt. She didn't ask Issa to help the revolutionary Negro guy. That was just an example of how she would get some social clues wrong. Lysandra, I gotta point out, I completely disagree with you. Amanda Seales' framing is what you've accepted, is that, yeah, Issa's just being too passive. She should step in and do what? Be passive. How? And she would brought up that she didn't just bring that up for social cues either. She implied that happened on the set of Issa Rae's show from her being passive, and that's one of the reasons she's always so alone, because she stands up and shit. But once again, I think some of y'all are in thrall. I think it's easy to like manipulate certain people on the internet with that shit, and it works. It's effective. There's a lot of people who don't question stuff. Whoever comes to the table first with their grievance, everybody's like, well, they must be right. And the other person being more high-minded about it, being more professional about it, always, at least with the internet, they always are the one that gets the target put on them. So like there's certain, like I said, I brought up my personal examples of working on game theory. There's things that happen where there's interpersonal conflict, where somebody did something fucked up, or there's two people that don't like each other. You ain't never heard me bring up anything on the show like that. I've never talked any specifics like that. Now, why? Because I'm a fucking professional. If I want to have another job, part of the job is not, and I'll just be out here telling everybody business. That, like, it's good content for y'all, but it should be a telltale red flag ass sign if I'm the nigga that's always in some mess and I always got to tell everybody else's business but my own. So I just think she got some of y'all, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and like Roger said, and we kind of talked about it. The situations was basically a party that Issa had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And so this person is hosting a party, and they said that they didn't want her there. So the conflict is not with Issa. The conflict is with that person, and they brought Issa up like Issa was supposed to step in and tell somebody else what to do with their party.
I illustrated it exactly, beautifully, flawlessly. I just think she has a certain group of people who either are just so consumed by the way she talks, where it's like, I am the victim because I am standing up for you. I am just an outspoken black woman, and that's why this keeps happening to me. I am the only one who is always right. Every other black person I disagree with is always wrong, and they're bad, and they did the wrong thing. And if you look through my past, everybody's always done me wrong, and that's why I'm over here by myself. It's never, and everyone feels sorry for her, and you want to be like, well, I think her heart's in the right place, and she's trying to do this, and I can see how she did it. And you just look down, it's like 20 years of this.
Yeah, and
at some point you have to be like, you're the common denominator.
Yeah, you have to look at the pattern in the relationships and the things that are left behind as she moves on, through these situations. And so I do agree with you, Rod. And the other situation that we talked about the set, bitch, you at work and you have an HR department. Like, Issa's accountable for those things. You if this person says you can't do that, you just can't do that. And a lot of her pushback was her going, well, I got the right to. No, you don't. We're at work. Mm-hmm. Work pays you to do shit, and guess what? Work pays you not to do shit too.
Yeah, like I said, it's just funny. And I knew I've seen this so much on the internet with people, especially black women. I chalk it up to that. I really just think if she was a black dude, people, like, it would be flipped. You'd have a lot of black men that would be like, yeah, right, it's everybody else's fault. And then you'd have black women that's like, something's not right with this brother. He's been fighting with people for 20 years. Every opportunity he ever gets, he always ends up blaming everybody else. And then being like, I'm going to just leave the industry because nobody wants to work with me. And it's because I speak truth to power. At some point, people, I think a lot of the same black women that are on her side would be like, no, that you're doing something else. And I think gender wars and shit just have gotten us to this place. And also, being friends with certain people helps, because you can go on a Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and be like, I stand up for us and this, that, and the other. And then when someone goes, well, what about Charlamagne's weird case of the statutory rape or whatever? It's like, I don't see that. I'm not standing up for her. Sometimes these girls be lying. It's like all these people are compromised at that level, I guess, to some extent, to be friends and to be in those spaces. But yeah, I don't know. I don't need everybody to agree with me on this one. I feel how I feel, and you didn't say anything that convinced me, like, specifically what Issa Rae needed to do.
Right.
Because I think what happens is when you go, she's passive, you use that language because it's language that Amanda Seales used. Say it with your chest. What does she need to do? What did Issa Rae need to do? Because I brought it up in the show and how it happened, how it transpired. What does she need to do? She need to I'm not at this party. I'm going to call my publicist, act like I'm her only client, tell her to let you in, force your way into this party that you knew you weren't invited to, knew you were on the list of don't let in, know that you and this woman have beef. I'm going to burn this relationship for you, a person that just works on my show. That I'm going to just do that for you. A person that knows they're a grown-ass woman and you and this other woman don't fuck with each other. It's somehow I'm being too passive. But that's how a lot of people get used too. Like, a lot of people-pleasing type people get used by people like that. That's what a boundary really is. Being like, no. You have made your bed. You have to lie in it. your interpersonal problem with this person, you need to resolve it. I'm not that person's boss. I'm not the manager you speak to handle this person. The fact you even view that person like that might be the fucking problem. It might be how you got where you are. Go talk to them like you got some respect and some sense and see if y'all can work this out as grown people. Or there's this whole other option. Don't fuck with them.
Right.
I do that all the time. There's people I don't fuck with. I'm like, yeah, they holding an event. I won't be going. They know we don't fuck with each other. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
Why would I go?
It's crazy, really. But, you know, because those other people are professional and they don't go to Instagram because they're working, being professional, creating projects, you know, being bosses, handling business. They not on Instagram live trying to cry in front of y'all and get y'all to relate to them. That does nothing for them. They don't need that. Tabitha says something, and I resent the whole comparison to Chaperone. She's being too passive. You had to say something, and you tried to make two things make sense that didn't go together to me. Somehow Chapel said all that and isn't standing up against her uncle who is signing anti-trans legislation. And somebody replied to that. Yep. Yeah, I don't even know who her uncle is, but yeah, that is wild that she. Yeah, and like I said, that may explain everything. Maybe that's why she's trying to find some type of both sides thing, so she can still love her uncle.
Right, and people are like, decisions have got to be made.
Yeah, I think people do that all the time, especially white people. Like they I was, I always think about this. I brought it up on the show a long time ago, but there was a video once, archival footage of white Confederate soldiers who had lost the Civil War and they were old at this point, and they were doing some type of weird ass reunion where they dressed up in their army whatever colors, grays or blues or whatever they wore, and they were doing the rebel yell, and it wasn't just them. The people that put it on were the Daughters of the Confederacy, I believe. Yeah. So like,
yes, sir.
This organization of women who were from the South who organized this like tribute to these men. And then they went out there and in front of their families and did these rebel yells and all this stuff. And it clicked for me that day, listening to this, doing the show live, listening to that clip. I said, oh, okay, I see now. Y'all have to love these men.
Yes.
Because that loser, racist, coward who cravenly tried to overthrow the government and literally keep my people in forced bondage, that person never fed me.
Right.
They never rocked me to sleep. They never read me a bedtime story. They're just a motherfucker that I hate and I'll never have any sympathy for. But the brainwashing that would have taken place if that person did, the size of them that I would have seen if that was the person that got me the medicine when I was sick, if that was the person that wanted to go see my football game, that was grandpappy, he put me on his knee on the rocking chair. I can't even imagine the head trip.
Right.
That it must be to have someone tell you, you mean that piece of shit? Because that's how I feel about them. I don't have there's nothing warm in my heart about these motherfuckers. I had a friend who once told me this anecdote, this story about how to scare his old grandpa, who's like damn near dead at the time, but he loved his grandpa. He was like, yeah, one time I went home for Christmas or the holidays, and I told everybody to tell my grandpa I had a black girlfriend. And he went in the bathroom and locked himself in the bathroom. And he's telling me a story. I'm like, what's fun? And he's laughing. I'm like, what's funny about it?
What is funny?
And he's like, because he thought I had a black girlfriend. I was like, so he went and locked himself in the bathroom and wouldn't come out because he didn't want to see a black person in your family?
And you think that's funny?
He didn't want the idea of you procreating or dating a black woman to that was so traumatizing to him. He had to go somewhere and be away from y'all. Fuck him. Fuck your granddad. Straight up. I don't ever want to meet him. That's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, bro. Fuck that dude. So that kind of thing is but obviously my friend, he's had years and years of this man doing a bunch of great shit for him. I don't have that.
Nope, and don't care.
So I think that's why you end up with white people that claim to be like good people, but then when it comes down to like, well, you need to disavow that motherfucker. It's like, no, I disavow both sides. I disavow anybody. It's like, nah, him, uncle, him. Okay, he the one passing the laws. You care about trans people so much.
He the one, right?
Talk to him.
Passing the laws.
But yeah, Gina says, yes, seeing people talk about being assaulted and betting bad mouth, I guess being bad mouth more than the actual perpetrator is really demoralizing. And we know that's a thing, and it's part of how survivors are kept silent, and they're the first to claim, oh, we're a community. Wrong is wrong. How am I helping my community? By helping cover it up or helping you keep doing it. Agreed. Gerard says, yes, it does feel like he is trying to lose Trump. He didn't expect to win in 2016. He didn't realize how successful it is, how stressful it is to be president. He wants to grift as much as he can until he expects to lose again. He wants to win to stay out of court. Yeah, I really, it feel like that to me. It's just gonna say a lot about the American people. Alexandra says, Chapel, girl, this is a mess. I don't think there's no amount of cleanup she can do. Unfortunately, everybody knows you got a transphobic Republican uncle that is hurting the community that not only you're a part of, but also your fans. Ma'am, people are dying and losing rights, but we got a both sides politics. Jason says, I definitely feel y'all when it comes to the media and the horse race nature of the coverage. Back in the day, NBA Live would have an option called CPU assistance. If you chose it, it would keep the game close no matter how bad someone sucked. It feels like CPU assistance has been on all three of Trump campaigns. None of these should be close. All the 1994 Golden State Warriors on the NBA Live is the greatest video game starting five ever. Haha, love the show, y'all.
That's hilarious.
94 Golden State Warriors. What's that? Hardaway. Is that the Run TMC?
Let me see.
Hardaway, Sprewell, Mullen, maybe? Or is that Hardaway,
1990.
Richardson?
For
yeah, because it would have been Tim, Mitch, Chris. So Hardaway, Chris Mullen, and Tim. Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and then Chris Mullen. That was a fun lineup. I don't know if that's the best video game starting five ever, because I think I'd go with the Orlando Magic that had Nick, Penny, Shaq.
That was a crew that was fun to watch.
Yeah, but just as a video game, that was a monstrous ass starting five that year. Horace Grant, like that was
Horace.
That might be mine.
That's after he left Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Video game wise, because it was a very athletic but great shooting team. So that might be mine. That's a good one though. You made me think about some shit. Because the thing is, it ain't the Bulls. Because the Bulls are just Michael Jordan's a 99. And Scottie Pippen is, amazing defender and all that shit. But like, nigga, I'll abuse Luke Longley in the post. Like, don't let me get Hakeem on Luke. It's a wrap. Like,
Hakeem shake is over.
Yeah. And like I used to dominate with the motherfucking Rockets back then. That was my squad. Because I just
with him and Kenny and them,
because they had a great 3-point shooting squad, and I would just kick it out to all those motherfuckers: Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell, like that squad. I know Robert Ory was coming off the bench, I think, but I also think it was they had another motherfucker that was maybe Thorpe. They had another power forward that was also like a good rebounder defender. But anyway, that's a whole sidetrack. Sorry, everybody. Let's get to the next to the poll. Chicken or fish? Yes, 100% of people. No, 0%. And I have to go to EVE on this because I didn't forget what you said, sis. Your first line of your response to this episode was, I didn't vote in the poll because my answer to chicken or fish is simply yes. Nigga, the poll options are chicken or fish Yes or no?
What
What are you talking about? I thought of that. Y'all be messing my science up, and I don't like that. All right, let's do another episode before we take a musical break. 2987, ain't nobody come to see you. Pros, 4 comments. Let's see. Brooklyn Shoe Babe says, see, this is why I love y'all. As soon as you started reading that Pros story, in my head I said, ain't nobody coming to see you, Pros. In my Leon is David Ruffin voice, and damn it, if you didn't bring the same energy. LOL. Keep up the good work, Rod and Karen. Ivy says, new thing to be grateful for. Mr. Appia is no sex offender of any kind, and we can go to any playground we want, indoor or outdoor, with our kids, and there will be no trouble with the law. We can even take photos. Can you imagine? I'm really winning in life.
Shit, yes you are.
Yeah, this that thing that happens when someone likes a celebrity or somebody and they say shit like, we all make mistakes. And I'll be like, not those mistakes. Not the it's a flex to be on a playground mistakes. I don't make those mistakes. I'm sorry. Like we make mistakes like, oh, I forgot to get the bread at the store. Okay, sure. But some of these mistakes is not all of us.
I forgot to pick up the eggs on the list.
Yeah, these some y'all mistakes y'all making. Ronan Raviel says, these are indeed strange times. Social media flexing, embracing weirdness, and worm subsidized RFK Jr. being chased by porn into a particular type of tatas. In all this, someone will still can't figure out how to buy donuts and wants to become VP. Chingy can't even right there.
Jackson probably don't even know they come in a dozen.
One legit thing is Rod and Karen gonna stay woke, open their third eye, bashing middle name holders for no reason, evangelizing about the dangers of swords. That alone makes the world a better place. Support the legitness, brethren. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evie says Nikki posting her husband as a playground is not the flex she thinks it is. Different states have different rules, and whether registered sex offenders can be around minors and under what circumstances. I wonder what does parole say about it. I bet that parole don't give a fuck where he is. Like, keep this nigga away from playground.
Don't matter. Stay away.
Like, this motherfucker's always playing in a away game as far as the fucking
as
parole is concerned.
There's no home games for you.
They use AI to Photoshop him on the playground. That's what they're gonna have to say. Whether he could be on the playground or not, he's still a registered sex offender. Right. Yeah. The fact that she thought that was like, I'm having a laugh is crazy. People wow, man. People wow. Last YouTube, on the YouTube, let's go to YouTube comments. Let's see what we got here. JV City just has an ice cold emoji. Hugh Gordon says Diddy is quickly approaching R. Kelly and Bill Cosby levels. Yep. Maybe past them. BG Brad says, all I know is Jaguar Wright has not been sued by anyone for her lies, in quotes. If she was libeling people, she'd be getting her ass sued constantly. Well, that just shows how little you know about libel and lawsuits. Just because somebody is lying on somebody doesn't mean that you're gonna sue them.
Right.
Not to mention, libel is typically something about being in print. Like, it's not even something you can just sue. Like, this motherfucker told a lie. That's not. You can't always sue over that. There's like a bunch of stuff to it. Yeah, law is to defame somebody by publishing libel. So yeah, it really typically means you have to like publish something in a publication. And also the other part of this I think is interesting that a lot of people don't want to, and I think it's because y'all just want the mess and y'all like the entertainment of her going on the radio and saying things that are, many of them couldn't possibly be true. But you like the entertainment of the conspiracy of it because it's an escapism from what the real story is. If you really want to believe somebody, believe the women that are accusing him. Read those pages of the lawsuits if you really give a fuck. But I don't think y'all do. I think y'all rather listen to a podcaster, bring her on and set her up to just say any fucking thing and be like, yep, that's what's happening. She said Jay-Z also be having sex with little kids. And it's like, why isn't that in any lawsuit? Why isn't anyone naming them? Where are these people? Where are these victims? How she know all this and see all this and she's everything's fine. I remember her playing on Tevin Campbell's name, and Tevin Campbell basically came out and was like, "Nah, you're not gonna do that," and she stopped. So I don't know, man. Y'all gonna believe what y'all want to anyway, but I think it's
Right.
like I said on the show, it's a bit of an unpopular take, but I think it's really a sickness in people, and it's a furthering of not believing women. Even though you claim you're believing them on the good side, you're actually not. To me, it is just as vile, just as bad to be like, I'm not going to read the allegations or these lawsuits. I'm not going to stick to what is being alleged in the court of law. I need the gossip. I need the tea. I'm going to just go turn on a podcast where it's not a journalist. She's on Piers Morgan's show. Y'all hate Piers Morgan.
Right. Last time I checked, yes.
Y'all know that's an unscrupulous man. When he was spreading those lies about Meghan Markle, y'all was ready to riot on his ass. Now he's a source of the truth. Because it's sad. It's sad what's happening. And it's sad how people be revealing themselves. Alexandra says, not to be the moral police, but is there not a bottom we reach as a society when it comes to getting money? People really trying to make money off of Diddy crimes? This man has harmed multiple people and everyone's trying to make a quick buck. Real people, not the theory of people. Nikki is, so, ma'am, there's nothing you can say about marrying someone like him. Yeah, the stuff, it's really no bottom to it. Because I think bringing Jaguar Wright on your show is straight up a cash grab.
Yes.
And it bails out the host because the host can always be like, I didn't say it. All I did was ask her questions. I don't know if it's true or not. But she will say something and I'm just gonna go, wow.
Right. Okay. You don't have no journalistic integrity.
Calibra Mike says, Dame need to lay low unless he'll have people bringing up his old ass all on Aaliyah's 17-year-old nuts. Just saying. Yeah, right. I don't know what Dame Dash, why he even want to get involved in this. Jason says, y'all hit the nail on the head with your WNBA discussion. The racists nor Stephen A and Shannon will have any impact on the long-term growth of the league. The thing that grows the sports league are the kids. With Caitlin and Angel, among others, the league has stars that little girls and probably boys are dying to go see. But if I'm a parent, why would I take my little girl to go see her favorite player get harassed? The WNBA needs an inside stuff like when I was young. That was the last positive sports show. Ahmad Rashad can still do it. He hasn't aged today.
Right? He ain't aged today.
Yeah, it would be funny seeing Ahmad Rashad do that my man shit. You know, I went down to Las Vegas to see the Aces with my man Asian Wilson. Asian was, he'd be out there hanging with him and shit. What's going on? Dapping up. We do need some more of that energy. What happened to that? That was good Saturday morning TV.
It was. Every now and then I think about that show every now and then.
Yeah. All right, let's get to another musical interlude, musical break. This one, I think I just got this one today from Psycho Music.
Psycho Music.
The poll, that was dope beat. The poll is, are you legally allowed to be at playgrounds? Forgot to do the poll. 100% yes. So not really a flex, Nikki. Some weather we're having today. 2988 was the title. 13 comments.
They won't talk about the weather apparently.
Miami Vice says, Rod, when you asked someone to recite a prize verse, I was laughing my ass off. What really had me cracking up was that I tried. I remember he had a song with Maya, Ghetto Superstar, and I could only remember the chorus, which was sung by Maya and ODB. Damn. Even Wyclef has memorable lyrics. Prize really just there to take up space. Yeah, the only verse I could think of, and I don't know the words. I just know how approximately it sounds in my head. But I just remember him rapping like I'm a champion like Buju Banton, like Farrakhan. That's all I remember. And I don't even know what verse it is, what song it's on. I definitely don't know the words.
Yeah, but I can hear the beat and everything when you said that.
That's all I got for y'all. Abia says in Germany, people at the register wouldn't talk to you like that. Here, it would be considered way too intrusive. Never had this experience here. Maybe the culture here has its upsides, and you would enjoy it to some degree. Maybe. Ronald Raviel says I don't know about that because when they have chatted with my in-laws every time I've been to a grocery store during visits to Deutschland. Granted, it is not the big city, and chatting is very German. They still chat it up while my father-in-law and I are loading the cart. Appia says chatting is absolutely possible, but if they don't know you, they don't do it, or it's about the weather, Max. Okay. She said, I didn't even know that the other guy in the Fuji's name was Praz. I only knew the names of the main two and had a vague feeling that there was another guy. So this might prove your point. Oh, definitely. Pink Superhero says, worst case is someone in my business at the grocery store. I was in line to buy some B6 vitamins because I was newly pregnant and very nauseous. The old man behind me got in my business saying, oh, look at you buying vitamins. What do you need them for? I didn't want to talk to this man about my pregnancy, so I said energy. And he proceeded to lecture me about how B6 was the wrong choice. And I really needed blah, 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 blah. It would have been great if I could just vomit it on his feet. Mind your business, people. Ann says Coates was correct saying that America exists by force, not right. The place we call home was forcibly taken from another group of people, but I think he underestimates how many are okay with that fact. I don't think he underestimates it at all. I think his work is based on estimating it exactly correctly.
No, he doesn't underestimate it, and he know they're gonna be mad, and he just like, bitch, you're gonna have to just be mad.
Yeah, I think if you read his books, you know he absolutely is not underestimating the state of the white people and the people in this country.
They always mad because their feelings be hurt and they feel like they got to tell this Negro, how dare you.
DJ says, this is why I love self-checkout. I can get my stuff and get out. Yes, there's a chance I'll get arrested for being black, but it's a chance I'm willing to take. Kennedy Peen must hit different. Who wants RFK Jr. whispering in your ear, right? We ain't gonna let me get some of that pussy.
That's not sexy at all.
Girl, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna fuck you down to the white meat. Like, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
No, thank you. I'm not in the mood anymore.
I don't just kill bears and whales. I will kill that pussy tonight. Just let me go ahead and hit that thing.
No, thank you.
Oh, my Michelle. Girl. Ann says, just wanted to drop this article about Vans here in case you need more reason to dislike them. I didn't click on it. Ronan Raphael says, but thank you. We're full over here, Ann. Ronan Raphael says, more proof again that Karen and I are related. So when she wins that mega lottery, don't forget that you got an unclaimed cousin to give 7%. Thank you, Sister Lauren Hill. Karen and I both started reading the message at the same time, but that's not why I'm here. Rod, my brother, you're lucky that you didn't run into a Nigerian auntie at the counter. Every female friend with you is automatically a wife, and good luck correcting her. Rami's mom had the energy in the series where she clashed with the trans woman. I never saw the series. 1 week into dating my now German missus, she wanted to try Nigerian food from a food truck near my place. I had to prepare her so she didn't think it was a setup. I know what you were thinking, Rod. Bunch of African and Caribbean folks got that too. Straight up attach wife on any woman next to a man. Didn't stop a few uncles I know from having secret families. So I'm with you on this one, Rod. Bipartisanship is possible. Agreed. EV says, I don't mind chatting with the cashier at this grocery store, but sometimes you get that one who wants to have a full conversation with everyone in line, and you're just waiting there like you don't have things to do, like read the room, people. Right. I keep saying white women are infatuated by the Kennedy name. I guarantee if Cheryl leave RFK Jr., he going to have someone on his arm the next day. Yeah, he's gross, but the porn will continue to chase him. He will, really. Damn, I don't know nothing about them Kennedys, I guess.
I don't know if it's the long money. It's something. It's tantalizing.
It's no Kennedys that's not rolling in it. It's no just regular Kennedys.
It's just mine. It's a lot of them Kennedys. We don't even know their names.
That's what I'm saying. It's no regular ones. All these motherfuckers is just
where are the regular Kennedys?
That's crazy if that's true. Angela says, hey, Karen and Rod, what is going on with RFK Jr. and these women? If he keeps going like this, he might end up with his own segment like Diddy. I wish there had been a hell no option for the poll. That Jack Smith document was jaw-dropping. It is disheartening to see white folks and their favorite coons act like this is just fine and like Trump is legitimate. I can't be shocked since this is how they behave since 1619. I was reading about how Puritans found mounds of corn that the Wampanoag had grown and stored and just took it talking about it would be good seed for the fields they were going to plant in the new world, forever stealing and punishing other people who are minding their business and trying to protect themselves. When I was taught in elementary school about how much Puritans suffered, I remember thinking, good, they should have stayed where they were. White folks in this country act like these thieves are heroes. The injustice is a feature, not a bug. No wonder many of them support Trump. Might make right in their eyes. Mike makes right in their eyes. Coates was definitely on point telling people about themselves. Speaking of justice, I'm quite satisfied with Garland and Smith. We all want justice to be served quickly, but people shouldn't have been playing around during the election cycle of Reagan versus Carter, the Obama presidency midterms, and 2016. They will never own up to their part in this, though. I hope people get out and vote blue and up and down the ticket. As Miss Charlene says, y'all do everything else. Vote or shut up. Thank you for the awesome show, Angela. Thank you, Angela.
Y'all do every fucking thing else. You got time for everything else.
And listen, that's facts.
Right.
Like everything you just said is 100% facts. Like, people want to know why things are slow, and it's like because we let the foot off the gas, and then we be like, what? Why y'all not doing this faster? Well, if you didn't have to go through Trump judges every other week,
right?
Maybe the motions will be done already. I can't believe they started. They started because you stalled your vote in 2016.
Come on,
that's what set this shit up. Now you mad because you want to eat a burger today, but the time to build the restaurant was 8 years ago, and y'all let the shit be fucked up. YouTube. Leonard Brother says, love a good audiobook too, Karen, and those Audible credits are definitely clutch. Might have to add that Coates book to my wish list. I got some of his Black Panther comics, but I never read or listened to any of his books. That's funny. I was just because I love Black Panther too, but the Coates is one of the greatest writers we've ever had. Like, you definitely want it. It's like saying you like. It's like saying I've never seen Deion Sanders play football, but I like That Must Be the Money video. I'm just a fan of his music. It's like, nigga, go watch a game then. Wait till you see the motherfucker. Wait till you see the motherfucker run around some bases.
Right, you're gonna really be shocked and surprised. Right. I'm with you, Leonard. I can understand that because I haven't, and I'm the opposite. I have not read none of them Black Panthers, and everybody say them motherfuckers is flames. So I'm eventually sit down and do that. And this is my first time reading the book, so I can't talk. Listening to the book, so I can't talk.
All right. Shu MD says, I'm following because of hearing on Karen Hunter. Love you, King. You hella dope, and come visit if you ever in Orlando, Florida. Thank you, Shu MD.
Thank you, baby.
Alexandra says, this opening conversation about Ta-Nehisi Coates' book and thoughts were very enlightening. From words having power to haunt you to the fact some discussions need to be in long form. Being on social media has shown me people love arguing in bad faith. They want hot takes and attention versus open dialogue and thoughtfulness. I see it as microwavable conversations. Thanks to Karen for sparking my interest in Ta-Nehisi.
Oh, thank you. I didn't really look at it like that or perceive it like that. But like I said, with all the stuff happening, I was like, I'm actually going to do it because, like I said, I know he wrote like the Black Panthers, and everybody say they're really good, and so I was like, you know what? Let me actually almost like see for myself type of thing. So I was like, I'm gonna see, for myself, and I think for me, it's more of challenging myself because, like I say, there's a lot of great books and great things and stuff like that that Roger's read, and probably a lot of fans have read that I have not read because I don't really know. I just haven't. I'm not gonna say I haven't had the interest. It's just I'm like, well, if I ain't read it by now, I don't know how to put it, but it's like it's just something within me that doesn't want to go out and actually read all that stuff. Like, that's a lot of reading. That's a lot. But it's like, I don't have to read it all today. I don't have to consume it all today. Like, and sometimes I think that fear of, oh my God, I got to know everything. Like I talked about the FOMO, and I was like, well, I don't have to do everything. I can take my time. I can read it slow. I can comprehend it at my own pace. And I don't know what I don't know. And when something is new to me, it's new to me. And I will share it with you. You might be like, I already knew this. Great. But it's new information to me. So, that's one of the things I challenge yourself type of thing. I'm challenge myself.
The last comment is from Ebbs, who says, "Thank you for the book recommendations. I also love audiobooks. 75% of my reading is via audio. I always loved reading as a kid, but it took me a long time to finish physical books. Then I was diagnosed with ADHD in college, and audiobooks started to become more popular after I graduated. Now I can finish 3 to 4 books in a week sometimes. PSA, your local library has audiobooks that you can download via Libby. I went to look for Ta-Nehisi's book in my library because it's only 5 hours. I save my Audible credits for them 15 to 20 hour blown books. Child. How come there are 102 people in the waiting list? Love to see that many people are interested in his new book. Yeah, he one of them ones, dog. Like, he's one of them ones. Like,
Yeah,
people gonna be interested in reading his shit.
They go up, and I'm glad people do. And I no reason to apologize, but yeah, I was just rambling before because I was kind of thinking out loud because I never really challenged myself on why I haven't really read or dove into like a lot of these things. But for me, that was just a very truthful moment kind of with myself while I'm kind of processing it out loud, particularly with reading and things like that. Like, Roger got me a physical book, and I absolutely love it. It's not a long book, but I actually love that book. It was something about touching the pages and turning, which I have not done in years, that I actually really like and enjoy. So yeah, y'all might be hearing about some other things that I'm reading and things like that, and if I remember to jot them down, I'll kind of share them with you because it sounds like it's something that people like.
And the poll for the episode was, would you let RFK Jr. get the draws?
No.
100% no. We had 300% polls. All I'm saying is this: for y'all to be writing in about how this man is going to forever have women throwing it at him, 100% no. I feel like I'm closer to right than y'all closer to right.
There's nothing sexy.
But I hear y'all. I'm not, don't write in. I know he's fucking everybody. All right, another musical interlude, then we get to voicemails.
Psych. Music.
I'm going, I'm buying. You just lay down slow.
That's called Notorious Cali. I recognize where that's from.
Mm-hmm.
All right, voicemails. We got 4 people that left voicemails this week.
Okay.
The first one I think is O'Neill.
Karen and Rod, it's O'Neill in Chicago. I haven't called in a while, so I'll keep this super quick. I'm listening to episode 2984, driving home from work, and it's you guys are talking about the Sits and Giggles podcast. It's so good, by the way. I love y'all. I listen to every show. You guys are the best. It had me thinking, and I actually called LaDre, who also called me to the podcast, because I wanted to talk about it, and he didn't answer. I guess he's with his kids and family. Which is awesome. He would answer the phone. It made me think, if I ever randomly blew up or, made it big, I would 100% hire you as my management. It's just such a strange world to navigate, and every time it seems like you have the answer. Obviously, I'm joking. I don't know if that's where your passion lies or whatever, but man, you just really navigate those sticky situations so well. And I want to scream at these people like, you need to listen to Rod and Karen. They know what they're doing. But yeah, love the show. Been a listener for years and years and years. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, it's obviously it's easier in hindsight, and some of the stuff we learned from like going through it ourselves.
Agreed.
But some of this stuff, man, it's you gotta know your own ego, and I really think if you just sat down with some of these people and said, "What do you really want? What do you think you can get back from this?" Because I think what happens to most people is when you feel like you're very well liked by the internet, you have that first moment of like people being like, man, fuck these people. You want to get back to liked as fast as possible. So you just like, what I gotta say? What I gotta do? What's the first? And the first thing I would tell anybody, number one, this shit is fleeting. So everybody liking you, that shit's not gonna last. You're gonna fuck up. Someone's gonna fuck up. Someone's gonna reframe something. Someone's gonna find something old that was fine at the time, but not fine now. To some kind of way, it's coming down. It just is what it is. Okay, you're human. Most people will understand that as long as you are able to convey, I'm just a human person and I make mistakes. But some people ain't gonna, they get off on the fact that it bothers you, right? So the first thing I'd be like is, don't try to just rush back on the internet and get everybody back. Don't just issue some half-ass fast apology, whatever. But then the second thing I'll be like is, you need to recognize that you're gonna have to learn to be okay with these motherfuckers not liking your ass.
Yep, not liking people not liking you is a part of life. And once you've accept that, and it don't even have to be people you don't know. It could be family, friends, loved ones. People not liking you is a part of your existence.
I don't like being disliked. It's not a thing but I just got comfortable with it. You know, I don't think there's too many good reasons to not like me, to be honest.
Agreed.
But also, fuck it. Somebody gonna find a reason.
Somebody gonna
whether it's valid or not.
Right.
You know, some of y'all hate Issa Rae because Amanda Seales told you to. Like, it's just that easy for some people. It be what it is. I always think of I don't know. I'm not even gonna go into details on that. I'll just be like, yeah, all right. So they don't like you, but you still shits and gigs. If you can keep your fans happy, then you should be all right.
You should be all right.
Allegra left 2 voicemails.
Hello, YouTube. It's Allegra. I'm going to try to make this quick. I know, famous last words, but let's see how good I can be. I'm responding to your episode 2980. Some people don't do the reading, or most people don't do the reading. And this episode and the episodes prior to this are talking about Black women, and that Andrew Schultz, or whatever his name is, I can't remember, podcast, Fifty Giggles, all that. And what I'm noticing about not only their thing, but y'all's reaction to their thing, and your listeners and fans of the show, of the Black Guys Tip responses, that people really get reactive. They hear a word or a phrase or something that triggers them, and then they just see red and don't listen to whatever else is said after them. And this has been a thing that's been huge for me. I relate to you, Rod, in the way that you see things, and you, Karen, in the passion that you feel when people come with something that's not right. Both of you guys are very passionate, and you're similar in also different ways, and I relate to both of you. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I love that you guys seem to be on the same sphere of conversation that I am having. And this has been something that's been very frustrating to me, is that people don't take a breath. They just get real reactive and don't listen to what the person's saying or their full expression of thought. And then they just get really emotional, and justifiable emotion. I mean, I get it. As a Black woman, I get tired of people being like, oh, you're just angry all the time, and oh, you always have to argue, and oh, you're really... It's a leg again. Of course I held. So yeah, I'm just basically saying that it's interesting that people don't take a breath and really sort of listen. And I want to blame social media to a certain extent, because it's this sort of instant gratification and juxtaposed with this instant reactionary culture. And it's frustrating. And I think that we just end up wanting to be angry. You guys have said that before in a couple of episodes before this one, where you just get pushed into anger before you even think about what you're supposed to be angry about. And so as a person who tries to take a breath and be thoughtful, and I'm not 100% because no one's answers in anything, it just becomes frustrating, because then when you try to express yourself, you realize you're not being heard all the way through. So I just want to bring that up, because I noticed this as a trend, not only with when you guys are interacting with the internet, and also your fans, but just outside in the rest of the world too. It can be very frustrating, and it's hard when you're empathic to relate to people who are reactionary like that. So yeah, just wanting to point that out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys being so thoughtful and taking your time and correcting yourselves and learning and growing. That's what we all should be doing as long as we're alive and we're doing it right. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple things you brought up that made me think about something was one, so much of our social economy right now is based on the fact that no one's taking a breath.
Yes.
So much of it is based on the fact that you're supposed to immediately react and react on the highest, like on level 10 to everything. Which is just not tenable. We all know if someone was like that in real life, we would be like, this person needs actual therapy, psychiatric help. That is not a normal response. You know, just every time something happens, you're turning your phone into your face and typing all caps or yelling or being mad. I think, but it's fueling a lot of our social economy. The second thing too is I have empathy for people that are emotionally reactive to stuff as well. But I just had one of the best things I learned was boundaries for as an empath to be able to say like, hey, that's them. I am not required to join them in that. I'm not required. My approval isn't needed. My disapproval isn't needed. My analysis of the situation is my analysis of it. I can sit there with you. I can understand. You can communicate to me, but I am under no obligation to share that emotion with you or to even agree with it. I can think you're wrong. I can think there's better ways to handle it, and also completely respect the validity of you having an emotional response.
Right.
You know, because we've all done that. You know, we've all been mad about something. But I think about myself and how if I was what a good friend looks like to me, right? So if someone saw me on this, like something happened, like let's say I was driving a car, someone cut me off in traffic, and I just started fucking yelling and going crazy and honking my horn, and now I'm doing 80 miles an hour driving after them, chasing this person. I would hope that the me in the passenger seat would say, I understand why you're mad that they cut you off in traffic. But what you're doing right now is actually more dangerous and adding to the problem. It is not helping to fix it. What happened already happened. The next thing that happens is in your control, and you should start focusing on that. To me, that's what a real friend is.
Right.
There are some people that don't define friendship like that. They define friendship as, I will be in the passenger seat. Get that motherfucker. Fuck them. I got the gun in the passenger seat. So it's just different ways of defining that. But once I realize what I think a good friend is, I'm only obligated to that. And I understand people that can't vibe with or be friends with or whatever with me. I accept that. But I'm only obligated to what I feel is the correct, right, moral thing to do in these situations. And so I think a lot of times our show is like the person in the passenger seat to what's happening, being like, okay, what do we want from this? Or how is this going to get us to the goal of this? What like beyond the rant, what else is there? Because I don't want to come on the show and perform a rant or just mirror the internet every day, because I think the internet feels psychotic to me.
It does. And the thing is, one thing that the caller said, they were talking about seeing red. When people see red, they're blind. And so when you're blind, you're easily manipulated, and you can easily go in all types of directions, and people use that against people. And it's not a safe space for you to be. And that's why a lot of times all these hot takes and stuff isn't good, because a lot of times when things happen, because things are going to happen in life, and your first response is not always, everybody don't need to know it. You need to filter that. You need to get your anxiety out the way, get your nerves out the way, get your anger, sadness, depression. Like, you have to filter through all these emotions until until you get down to whatever the correct number is, because 10 ain't always right. Sometimes it might be a 5, sometimes it might be a 2, sometimes it might even be a 0. You have to ask yourself, is this thing, whatever I'm responding to, is it really that important? And my response, who and what is it impacting around me? Which is questions that the internet does not give a fuck about. It doesn't. It's like, do it now, do it now. It feels good, do it now, do it now. It feels good. Go out here, fuck it, burn it down, fuck your career, fuck losing your job, fuck your family, your friends. Do it now, do it now, do it now. And that do it now attitude has real life consequences. And nobody gives a fuck until it's them on the receiving end of those real life consequences. Nobody cares until they're being harassed, or their friends being harassed, or their loved ones being harassed, or they're getting doxxed. Nobody cares until they're the one getting ate up by the machine. And a lot of this comes from that blindness, and people are, I will continue to say this, people are addicted to it. And I'm not saying this as somebody who hasn't been in the machine. I'm saying this as somebody who has been in the machine, been kind of through that thing, may not be to the point of other people, but I've seen what happens when the machines on other people and loved ones around me, and I want to fight every motherfucker around. And I was very angry and very justified in my anger. So, it's one of those things where people in it can't see it, and they think something wrong with you with you being reasonable, but being reasonable will also keep you away from a lot of stuff, because you'll go through that thought process, and sometimes your response is to not respond, and that's the opposite of the internet.
All right, next voicemail. Boom.
Hey, Rod and Karen, this is Carmen Chanel, your raggedy ass cousin from Chicago. The one who never released 5-star reviews. I'm gonna get to it one day. I promise.
Hey, baby,
It's been years and years, but I'm gonna get to it one day. I'm just raggedy. I have a question for you. It has nothing to do with anything, but everything to do with a lot of what you talk about, and that is Appia. Now, I know she's one of your faithful listeners. I know that she is a huge contributor, but I'm gonna say this, and it's with all the shade. She ain't irritating to y'all. Like, do you sometimes read her feedback and be like, I'm not reading this today? So she's one of those people that always got something to say. Like, her voice needs to always be heard. Do she got friends? Did people talk to her when she was a child? Like, is she, still working off COVID policies where she's isolated, don't get a lot of interaction? I'm just curious. Yeah. And not to offend anybody, but if you're offended, that's your business, not mine. But that Diddy comment took me over the top. Every time I hear you mention her name, Appia said, and Appia wrote in, and Appia commented, I'll be like, oh, shit. Now what? But this time, that Diddy comment about him being abused as a child. Girl, do you know Diddy and his mama? What you know, we don't know it. We black. And we over here in America. What? Oh, okay. You know what? Sorry, not sorry. Love y'all as much as I can. As much as I have space for. Peace.
All right.
Oh, Appia got shots for no reason.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't find Appia annoying. I think it's funny. I think she's kind of part of the show now. I know she always means well.
Yes.
And so I'm able to take everything she says in good faith in that way.
Right.
And I find Appia to be charming and funny. But also the P Diddy comment, I think, is the real culprit here. I think that pissed you off, and then you said all of this because like it put you over the top. But I didn't find the comment even to be. I mean, we disagree with it. We've had people write in and call in, and they've said they disagree with it. But I don't know. At no point did it feel like personal to me. I think I think a lot of people have that line of thinking. And so no, I don't find her annoying. I think I honestly find Appia to be quite adorable. She's a very nice person. So
yeah, and also it's one of those things where for the feedback show, we encourage feedback. So it's not like we're not asking for people to interact with us, because if people don't interact with us, there's no show. Basically, it will be just us. So we appreciate people commenting and calling in and things like that. And like I said,
these are the people that like us enough to leave that voicemail, to leave that comment, to interact with us every week. You know, these are the people that lead the 5-star reviews. You know, so it's just, you know, the same way that I'm not gonna get mad and react to you and be like, how dare you fucking call in here. I mean, it is what it is. I know that we've had other listeners in the past that, you know, and they all have seasons. Everybody has times. We had other listeners in the past that people be like, y'all don't think so-and-so doing too much or whatever. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's the show right now.
Right.
And we're, as long as we're having a good time, we're having a good time. If we truly didn't fuck with somebody, we just stop replying and stop having them write in or whatever.
We would.
We've done that before too, where somebody really was doing a bunch of bullshit. And we were like, all right, listen, this isn't even about the show anymore. You're just being full of shit, blah, blah, blah. But Appia pretty much stays on task and on assignment. Like whatever she writes in is typically something we've talked about.
Right.
If you want to know my biggest pet peeves, is honestly the people that write in here or call in and want to bring up like their own shit. Like, hey man, start your own podcast. If we didn't talk about it, I don't really feel like listening to you do a tight set of unrelated material. You know, like we're not the, you know, this isn't the motherfucking Apollo. Okay. So like, that's the shit that gets on my nerves. But, you know, and then of course people talking nasty and mean to me and Karen, I don't tolerate that. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I think Appia is a very sweet, kind person. And, it's just easy for me to take what she says in good faith. So
yeah, same.
I would have more of a problem if someone wrote in and was giving us some devil's advocate shit with Puff Daddy.
Now
like
that
if someone wrote in
angry.
and was like, well, what if he didn't even really do it or something crazy? Then I would be like, whatever. But as an empath myself, I found what she said relatable because I go through that. I think about that kind of shit all the time. I've told y'all, I think y'all just don't hear me when I'm saying it. But I told y'all many, many times, I have to work backwards from empathy to no. That motherfucker made their bed and they got a lie in it. I don't start at that. I started like, well, what the fuck happened? How did you get to this place where you would do such a horrible thing? I just don't share that part of my brain with y'all because I know most people can't handle that.
And they be like, it's too much.
Don't nobody want to hear that shit. No one want to hear. You know, anyway, I'll just move on. Next voicemail.
Rod and Karen, what's happening? This is Ebony. I hollered when Rod was like, recite a prose lyric, and I was stuck. I didn't even know his lyric on a radio or not. But anyway, that's not why I called. I've been meaning to talk to y'all for like weeks about this shiz and gigs thing. And my thing is, like, I think the Black women who were disappointed, I'm like, they're kind of in the delulu, because I'm like, what about Fuhad and James, their content makes you think that they're going to cape for women, let alone Black women? I mean, that's just not their content. To me, it feels more like, oh, you got access to the guys' group chat, or you were in their locker room and you got to hear like what they really talk about. Now, I've never listened to a full podcast episode, so I could be ignorant of that. But I know, for instance, like one of the funniest things I saw of them on Instagram, their reels or whatever, was them talking about like, what do you do with your dick when you take a poop, right? So do you just let it hang? Do you hold it, or do you put it on the stool and, you know, or the seat or whatever? And Fuhad was like, oh, I just rest mine on the seat. And everyone's like, oh, Fuhad holding something. So I don't know if I would have expected that from them anyway. The other thing I will say is I listen to Poor Minds, and Drea and Lex P are good time girls. So it did not at all surprise me that they were not giving a fuck about the quote unquote backlash. Them ladies have been talking about BDBs and their experience with them since forever. And if you don't know what those are big dick ballers, and that's kind of what they've been on. But now they've elevated and they're interviewing bigger guests or whatever. But again, I don't know what people really expected of them, and I don't think that they were true fans in the first place.
She did call back.
And the last thing I'll say, this is Ebony again, is that so I also listen to The Brilliant Idiots, and I've been to like 4 of Andrew's stand-ups. And I will tell you that progressively over time, I think, I maybe started going to his stand-ups in 2018, and progressively over time, the audience has gotten broier and broier. Like he, started to do more crowd work, and just the crowd in there was just like a bunch of like, Rogan flagrant type of motherfuckers or whatever.
That.
But I will tell you, Andrew's stand-up is brilliant. Like I went to go see him at Madison Square Garden. He, beautifully talked about his wife and their issues with infertility, and like it was a really good show. But I do find that like, when I listen to that flagrant episode with them in the Shiz and Gigs, I'm like, they're just so inflammatory, and it's not even cleverly placed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just being stupid and trying to get a rise out of people for no reason.
Right.
And I think you said something a few weeks ago about like sometimes comedians use their podcast to work out material, and sometimes I feel like I would just rather not like listen to Andrew sometimes, because it really kind of turns me off. But then I realize like I really like him as a stand-up, but as like a podcast person, sometimes he gets on my nerves. And I will say they do know how to turn that shit on and off. They were interviewing on Flagrant Dax Shepard, and they were very demure, very mindful. Like they weren't doing none of that bullshit, poking and racist and all that other stuff. They were having a very like regular ass conversation. And that brings me to this. Also, Schultz is not Jewish, by the way. But it also brings me to the point with him and Charlemagne and Brilliant Idiots. I wonder if there's ever going to be a time where Charlotte's going to be like, you went too fucking far. And somehow they end up like not doing the show anymore together because of some rip. Like I always think about that. But anyway, y'all have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, Ebony. And I think everything you said was on point. I don't know enough about his stand-up, and as I've mentioned on the show, I've never seen his stand-up, so I can't speak to any of the stand-up. If you say it's brilliant,
agreed.
Then that's I would I'll let y'all know if I ever see it. But the general tenor of going more and more bro, I think, is strategy. I think it's where podcasts were going. It's what has fed a lot of people, especially in this like manosphere age where like Andrew Schultz is blowing up, Kevin Samuels blew up. Some of these people are not funny or talented in any serious way, and they're able to like make a living off of just being trolls. So I could see professional comedians looking at it being like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. As for him and Charlemagne blowing up, I don't listen to Brilliant Idiots. I don't know what their dynamic is.
Me either.
Anytime I see a clip or something go viral off of there, it's always something that I find to be like patently absurd. And so I can't, as I said on the show, we have fans who listen to us and them. Like I'm under no delusion that like they're not a big fucking deal, but
they're huge.
I just understand what our lane is and what our show does, and it's why you can't work with everybody. I don't know that Charlemagne has a line when it comes to entertainment. I think famously that's kind of his thing, is that he doesn't really have any level of integrity that would make him go, I'm out of this. You know, he's more of he sees his integrity as something that says, I'll stay in the fire no matter how hot it gets, because that's where the eyeballs are. And I think he sees shit differently. I always thought the Brilliant Idiot thing was funny to me, because it was like the title was not because it wasn't clever. But it was like, here's how we can kind of get around any level of responsibility with our voices. And when the bar is that low, if they ever speak up on anything with nuance, people are going to act like, oh my God. And the last thing was, you said they turn it on and off. Exactly. It's an act. It's an act.
It's an act. It's a performance.
It's not really them. It's really Shits and Gigs management and their faults for not doing any research. Because once you see that somebody has that as their act, you have to decide, do you want to be on set for that? Like, risk your brand if they decide today is the day we're gonna keep the act going. We're not gonna give you the Dak Shepard version. We're gonna give you the hey, black women ain't shit, ha ha version. And Joe Rogan does the same thing. Like anytime you see a clip of Joe Rogan saying something racist, you never see him doing it with a black guest. Black guests come, he turned that shit off. He don't be racist that day. Black guests don't be there. All of a sudden it's like, but really, aren't they doing crimes to themselves? Isn't that the real problem? Like that. So he knows what he's doing. Same way Schultz knows what he's doing. Oh, and I did have one more thing I forgot to say. You started off, what did she say? It'll come back to me. Karen, did you have anything? Okay. She said there was one more point. Let's see. Brilliant stand up. His
she went
turn it on and off. Yeah, that was one more thing you had to say, and I forgot what it was, but it just reminded me of something. But yeah, I ultimately feel like that guy like that is going to be successful. And the edgelord humor of it all is part of it for him, and his fans like that shit. And I don't think there's any reason he should change. I think Shits and Gigs and their people should look at how they navigate that world and be like, we need to make some changes so that you're never in a room like that again.
Right, because like you said, everybody has their own lanes, and sometimes lanes just aren't meant to cross. And if it does, it causes an accident. And you're like, nope, let me just stay in my lane.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't, like I said, I don't even really talk. We don't even talk about them on this show like that because I just don't. I'm not a fan. I'm not in that world, and the people that like it for the reasons I don't like it. So why would I even? I have nothing to even really be mad about over there. Oh, I know what it was when you brought up people liking Shits and Gigs in the first place. I'm telling you exactly what it was. As I saw it, they liked them for the few clips they saw that were on social media,
right?
And they used them to shit on the dudes that make podcasts like Andrew Schultz and Fit and Fresh and all this stuff, to say, why can't your podcast be like these two guys?
Right.
But what happens when you hold people up like that, you often have not done any thorough level of research, and you're not really a fan of them.
Right.
You're a fan of using them to shit on someone else. I always feel this energy when someone tries to do this with our podcast. I don't respond to it. When people do why can't other podcasts do what Rod and Karen do? That's not necessarily you being a fan. That's just you don't like these motherfuckers right now so much that you bringing us up.
Right.
A fan
ain't got nothing to do with that.
A fan is Appia. She gonna write in every week and be like, this is what I thought. You know what I'm saying? A fan is not necessarily just a person that wants to use us to make a point about somebody else. A fan is the person that shows up to our live shows. A fan is the person that is in the chat
premium
room. Fan is the person leave these voicemails, emails. That's the fan, like the fan is, to me, is different. And I think those people were not fans of Shits and Gigs. They just wanted to make a point, and it came back to bite them because they're just, turns out, they just some dudes.
And not only that, the social media platform and your podcast, they're two different forms of media. And there are a lot of people that listen to a podcast that aren't really on social media like that. Then there are a lot of people that are on social media and will never listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes these people don't cross.
But you're seeing clips.
Yes, you're seeing.
So the clips make you feel like you know the podcast, but you just saw a clip.
Right, and they've never really sat down and listened or actually consumed. So when something came out that was the opposite of those clips, these people felt hurt, disappointed, sad, and a lot of them felt like, well, damn, I've been out here bashing people, and now I feel like a motherfucking fool. So now, instead of me taking responsibility for my lack of knowledge and not doing my research on these brothers, not that everybody was like this, but a large percentage of them were, they turned around and got angry.
The fact that it only took a couple of clips the other way for them to be like, fuck these niggas, says a lot about the fact that low key, they should have never been going up for these guys. That's really the truth. Low key, they should have never been pushing these guys, because it shouldn't take two clips for you to be like, fuck these guys forever. If you were a fan of them,
right?
Because you would be like, they're human, they make mistakes. I know they make certain types of jokes. Okay, they fucked up, or I know that clip looks bad, but what about the hundreds of episodes that aren't like that? Nah, if you could get off of them that fast, you weren't on them that hard anyway. All right, let's get to these emails. All right, that's DJ Jaffa. And I think that was called Be Fair. All right, we got a few emails and then we can finally wrap it up. Okay. Michelle says, without Googling this, I'm pretty sure that I haven't heard the name Obi Trice in 20 years. Last week, it was Chingy. All I know is that this Diddy indictment is a reckoning in old school hip hop memories from Gen X and older millennials. We champion the culture because it got us by without realizing how some of hip hop culture is violent. Sure. I think we knew. I really just think people didn't give a fuck.
I knew.
It was in the lyrics. Like, it wasn't like hidden. We just didn't care. They was saying a lot of shit. I'm not saying that means you didn't care about Diddy's sex crimes. Right. That wasn't in the lyrics. But the culture being misogynistic, violent, and all that stuff, there's no real reckoning happening there. That was in the front. It's why I always thought it was funny when people would say stuff like, just wait until they come for hip hop, the woke people, the woke mob. I'm like, to tell us what?
We already know.
To tell us what? They will not say anything C. Dolores Tucker didn't tell us already, and we ignore it. Like, the only thing that happens is we get older and then we want to judge the new people hip hop. That's it.
The shit's the same.
That's all. That's the only difference. Brian says, hey, Rod and Karen, let me start with letting you know how much I love your podcast multiple times a week. The banter intro is awesome. You have talented and creative listeners. So Ratchetness is a bonkers segment. Did I hear correctly that the two people who cut off a man's hand pleaded guilty to a single count of mayhem? What the fuck kind of crime is that compared to aggravated assault or attempted murder?
Right.
One of the perpetrators does not seem to be white based on their name, but damn if that doesn't sound like a crime designation for white people who to lessen their punishment. Come to think of it, a sword attack seems to be a white crime. The only black guys I associate with swords are Blade and Sho'nuff, and they're fictional. Stay safe. Well, thanks, Ryan.
That's hilarious.
Well, don't forget about Forrest Whitaker in The Last Samurai. MF Stevens says, killer robot dogs. I remember distinctly a few years ago, y'all were talking about the MIT robot dog program, and Karen correctly made the connection that robot dogs eventually be militarized and used against enemy combatants. We need to bust out the Karen was right music for this article, and it's about the army robot dogs in the Middle East. Look, we have many times pointed out, myself even pointed out how right Karen was about this and how wrong I was. And it's not Karen was right, it's Karen be known.
I was right about something.
Christopher says, what up, Rod and Karen and the Tips Nation? So I went ahead and voted early because I'm not playing with these people. I did what I had to do. The rest is on y'all. It was cool seeing all the black aunties taking the time from their stories to help out the voting populace. But there's one thing I enjoy above all else. One thing I absolutely live for every major and minor. Actually, all these bitches is major now election. So I have to explain first. I'm sorry. I'm sort of a big guy, not like NBA size, but like, oh yeah, I played football back in the day. Could have gone pro, but my knee though size. I have locks, a beard, and also have resting bitch face, or whatever the term would be for me. Yeah, what is I guess it's resting bitch face for everybody, right?
That's what I call it across the board.
I don't think men need a different term, you know. All that to say that when these raggedy motherfuckers dare to walk up to me with the sheet of paper with the Republican nominees, I take immense pleasure in walking right by them losers, looking them dead in their face with the resting bitch face while I go to do my duty. I feel the spirit of Brother Marshawn Lynch in me say, you know why I'm here.
Right?
I would slap it out of their hands, but the polices do be up there. Whatever that feeling is, I need to mix it with some baking soda and hit the streets because it's pure crack. They really killed a whole ass tree and wasted ink and electricity printing that bitch just for me to ignore it. Shaking my head, thanks.
Me too.
Yes. Oh, also, I seen Cornel West on the ballot and let out an audible, ha. One of the Black aunties came to check if I was good because it's no talking in there, but I'm pretty sure she knew what was up. I know I couldn't have been the only one. Anyway, thanks for the work y'all do, and happy belated birthday to a fellow Libra. Thanks, Chris.
I think I'd have busted out laughing if I'd have seen him on the ballot too. What are you doing here?
I don't know. I would have laughed. That's crazy. I can't believe he's on any ballot.
Right?
I can't believe the paperwork went through.
They're like, you need to correct that. Fuck it, it's done. We're not delaying early voting, but it's bullshit.
I can't believe he got the notary republic to go ahead and stamp it this time. Steph says, "Hey y'all, hope I'm not." Oh, and also I do love mushing those Republican people in the face, but I don't go to my vote where I live now, the people in my community pretty much all vote Democrat, so they don't send the Republican people out here like they used to. When I used to live closer to the white side of town, and I had to go to those voting places, oh man, they would be out there in front of that Morrison Library, in front of that church, and it's number just you could look at them and be they like the khakis in the shirt. You like, that's a Republican.
Yeah, he was like,
and they like, can I interest you in voting for like against my rights, bitch? No, shut up. Steph says, "Hey y'all, hope I'm not too late for the feedback show. I saw that Mr. Coast Good Morning America thing too. Made me mad as fuck. You notice they put the two black people around because they knew that the news guy was going to say despicable. I'm so happy Mr. Coast didn't fumble. He said what the fuck he said. Trying to get us to see Palestinians as terrorists so that they can continue to murder them is crazy. Now they're doing the same thing to Lebanon. Soon they'll be saying that they are from Lebanon as well." You know what's interesting about that is I didn't even think they put the black people. I don't think they put Gail and that dude there as like to offset the dude. I really think my man went ham. Like, as a person that's seen those live interviews taped before, there's like not a script. Like all of us think there's a script because that's what we've been told. Like, you look in the teleprompter and tells you what to say. It's really like you get some cue cards in your hand, but you kind of pick and choose what you're gonna ask. And also you if something starts to veer, it's up to the interviewer to either rein it back in or to go with it. And a lot of times they'll tell you to go with it for a better TV moment. Like, there's the amount of interview questions I wrote for Bomani that never got fucking asked is crazy. Like, it's because like they find the chemistry and then they start talking about something else. Next thing you know, they spent 5 minutes talking about shoes and it ends up being funny and good. And you only get that 5 minutes with them. That's it. So I think that dude really went ham and was like, man, fuck Gail, fuck this other dude. I'm asking questions because I'm Jewish and I'm mad.
Yep.
And he's going to explain this shit to me.
Yep. That sounds like a personal thing. And he was like, I took the time.
I can't believe those people bought that Kim Porter book. Then again, I can. The need for gossip has turned people into ghouls. I see they are making all these Beyonce posts and videos about how she killed Aaliyah Left Eye, saying if Aaliyah wasn't alive, Beyonce wouldn't be here. Sympathy comments for Diddy, but comments on her socials about how her and Jay are next. Misogyny is a real crazy thing. Majority of the people pushing this are white folks who don't even know who Aaliyah is. Pisses me off. Only want to talk about black culture to steal from it or demonize it. I'll be happy when the feds drop who was involved, but I really don't think it's anyone famous. Probably the people who work for him, just like R. Kelly. Yeah, and I'm okay being surprised.
Me too.
Like
it's okay to be shocked, y'all.
Yeah. If I find out it's somebody famous, I don't need to be like, I knew it. I actually did not know it, and I should not know it. And know who the fuck should know that?
Hey,
what the fuck is wrong with you? If you look at like, I like this R&B song, I know this nigga's a serial rapist. Then we just two different type of people that enjoy music for different reasons.
I clear we are, right?
The Game of Thrones new covers are out. I shall be making my way to a mall or Barnes & Noble to cheat on my diet at Cinnabon. Thank y'all for reading. P.S. How long before RFK blames his behavior of cheating on that worm? Well, women was after that worm. All right, that's it. Shout out to my man Psycho Music who sent me those two beats today that I used and said it was because of my birthday.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. And that's it for everybody. We'll be back possibly throughout the week. I'm honestly feeling like maybe we're due for a week off. Sorry to that person that's mad they not getting enough pregame. But I feel like we've been working hard with not a lot of breaks, so we might take some time off this week, just work on some behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
But speaking of behind the scenes stuff, I just want to let y'all know we are finalizing and the plans for a live show again next year in February in Charlotte. We'll give you the info when all that stuff is finalized and out. So get excited.
Get your money
Make sure
together.
you get your vacation days right.
Get your PTO time straight.
We're gonna bring back the VIP meet and greet because like we just out here with the Rona now. It is what it is. Y'all get vaxxed up, and if you need to wear a mask, wear a mask. But we're gonna shake some hands, sign some posters and shit. But yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, that's it for now. We'll talk to y'all later. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye everybody. Y'all have a good one. It was fun as always.